Hey, this is a big deal. All right. We're really embarking on something in the back half of the show that will go forward into our next 3 episodes. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. And it's one of our biggest franchises ever, one of the biggest franchises there's ever been. It won our March Madness bracket for the franchise that you listeners and people on Twitter most wanted to see us cover or hear us cover, as the case may be. And it's The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. And neither of us have ever seen this first animated movie. And it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, so we only do the theatrical. I mean, I try to, in general, only do theatrical releases on this show, and so there are a couple of '80s straight to TV Lord of the Rings animated movies, The Hobbit and The Return of the King. But the only one that came out theatrically is this one, The Lord of the Rings, so straight up The Lord of the Rings in 1978. And so we're covering that one. And then, of course, next week going forward with the Peter Jackson ones, The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers.
Right. And he did all those Hobbits also, Peter Jackson, right?
Oh, he sure did. With I think the first one he might have worked on it with Guillermo del Toro,
Oh, really?
something like that.
Didn't he do it against his will? Isn't that the story? He didn't want to do it, but they were like, sorry, buddy, you got to do it.
No. I disagree. I think he was doing it with Guillermo del Toro, and then when del Toro decided he didn't want to direct it, like they already had done so much work that Jackson was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to direct it myself."
Oh, maybe by the end he's out on it. I remember the story being he was not very happy with it.
Well, I'll do some research in the coming weeks, but for now, let's stay in the 70s. So, The Lord of the Rings. You ever read these? I know you're not familiar with books, but
Right.
you ever pick one of these up?
No, they were in my school library. I probably should have. I was a big Lord of the Rings fan, but I just never did.
Sure. Okay, so the books were written in like the 30s and 40s by j.r.r. Tolkien.
A legend.
Absolute legend, bro. Total. You know that he. It's funny. Like I think of him like living in like the 1800s or something. But I mean, he was born in 1892. But he lived until 1973. Like, isn't that
Wow.
fucking weird? Like this movie, like the animated Lord of the Rings, only came out like a couple years after he died.
I was sort of amazed to find out the director of this was still alive. I know this wasn't super long ago, but when I looked it up and found out like the writers, right? Like everyone's still alive.
I've met the director of this movie.
Really? Ralph
Yeah,
Bakshi?
Ralph Bakshi. Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool guy.
Where at?
To be honest, I don't remember, but I met him and I have something signed by him, and I told him that Fritz the Cat is great.
You didn't mention Lord of the Rings?
No, I think I talked about Fritz the Cat and American Pop because that's kind of an obscure one that I thought he would get a kick out of. But no, I mean I was not a Lord of the Rings guy ever. Still,
I think that's pretty cool. Like if you're somebody who made something very famous and somebody comes up and appreciates something that's not that thing, I think that's cool.
yeah, I try to mention something like that.
Yeah. Or he's like this loser trying to appeal to me. Get out of here.
Well, I think about that sometimes. Yeah. Which is better? Who knows? Probably just don't talk to them at all.
Right. But that's sad.
Yeah. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. How do you feel about that?
John Ronald Reuel Tolkien?
Yeah, that's right. You know what's crazy? He had a wife, Edith Bratt. Hey, she was cute, by the way. And they got married in 1916, Logan, and divorced in 1971, which is only 2 years before he died. He was just like, I gotta use this dick for these last 2 years.
Wow. I doubt that happened. You think that happened?
Yeah.
Did he have kids?
He had 4 kids. The last of them died just this year.
Whoa. COVID related?
Oh, good question. She just died in February. Let's see. How are you dead? It doesn't say.
Okay. We're going to assume COVID related, though.
I'm going to assume COVID related. I'm going to assume she was a rampant anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
All right. So United Artists had the rights to the Lord of the Rings movies in the 60s, and that includes The Hobbit, which was written first, I believe. And they wanted to make it into like a big epic movie, and they want it to be one movie. Let's do the whole trilogy as one movie. All right, which I think can be done. Nothing happens in these movies.
I disagree.
I think you have them. He gets the ring in the first 5 minutes, then he walks for a while. He runs into that war in Two Towers, right? Then he walks some more, and then drops the ring into the lava. That's the trilogy, right?
I guess in your stupid, simple version.
I mean, it's not that stupid. All it is he's like trying to navigate from one place to another.
Where's
the
Gollum in your
Shire to
version?
Mordor.
When do we go to the Mines of Moria in your version? Where does the Balrog show up in your version? Huh?
You don't need any of that.
Where does Boromir get 8 arrows in his chest?
You could just cut all that out.
Yeah. Where's Wormtongue show up in your version?
Who's that?
He's Brad Dourif in the real ones.
Oh, get at the real ones. Listen to you. All right. So, United Artists first offered it to David Lean, the director of Lawrence of Arabia, and he was doing other shit. Then the great Italian filmmaker Michelangelo Antonioni, and he turned it down as well. And finally, Stanley Kubrick, who specifically said that he felt that the books were unfilmable.
Wow, boy, was he wrong.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, wow. Fucking he lost out on that one.
Is he dead when they come out? The other ones?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah. I didn't get to see him.
Yeah. I would love it if he got to see them, and then Peter Jackson would be like, "Ha ha, fuck you."
Yeah, waves his Oscar in his face.
Yeah, or I guess, "Fuck you, mate." Right, something like that.
Yeah, is he New Zealand? He's New Zealand, right?
New Zealand, yeah.
A Kiwi, they say.
Oh, good call. Yeah. They should use other obscure fruits for stuff, you know, like maybe now like Laotian people are tangerines.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything to offend anybody though.
Is that offensive?
Why are they called kiwis? I'm sure it's not based off the fruit. I'm sure it's something
I
else.
have no idea. Maybe they've got kiwis there. Maybe that's where they come from.
I mean, maybe you're right. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? All right. So then they got John Borman, and he wrote a script that was deemed too expensive, but that was like the working script. That was what they had in development. They were just trying to find a way to make it cheaper. John Borman, if you don't know, like probably best known for directing Deliverance. He did Excalibur too, which is kind of closer to, I guess, what he was thinking for Lord of the Rings. All right, so then Ralph Bakshi shows up. There was like an article in one of the trades about that John Borman script, and Ralph Bakshi, who was an animator, who and he asked to see the script and had his own ideas for Lord of the Rings. Ralph Bakshi was an animator in like the 50s and 60s for like the establishment guys like Hanna-Barbera and whatever. And then he went off on his own, formed his own animation studio and started producing sort of very adult animated movies. The first one and the biggest hit being Fritz the Cat, which actually had a sequel, which we can cover someday.
All right. You're a fan?
Yeah, I love Fritz the Cat.
The sequel too?
Yeah, 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat. It's pretty fun.
All right.
Anyway, he went on, like, he never topped those. Like, that was the best ever. But he
not even this after seeing this?
No, but I do have a healthy respect for this movie.
Wow. All right. Good.
Yeah. All right. So he decides he wants to make the movie, and he gets United Artists to actually pay John Borman $3 million to just fuck off. Because he had like a pay or play. Like, if you're going to make Lord of the Rings, you have to use my script. And they're like, well, what if we give you $3 million?
Wow.
Yeah. And he was just like, all right.
Did that go? That didn't play into the budget?
Probably. It's probably not counted in the budget, but it's another expense. I mean, there's a reason this movie didn't get a sequel.
Because didn't this cost close to $3 million?
It cost $4 million.
So they paid double the prices to get that guy to screw off?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So the studio wanted him to do it in one movie, and he was thinking 3. And then they decided to compromise, and they were going to make it in 2 movies and cut off the first one halfway through Two Towers. But he wanted So the original title of the movie was going to be Lord of the Rings Part 1: The Fellowship.
Yeah. Why did we never get a second one?
Well, I guess it just didn't do well enough for them to make a second one, and there were apparently massive behind-the-scenes problems involving this movie. It went over budget. The producer, Saul Zantz, his vision for it was not meshing with Ralph Bakshi's version. And then when it finally came out, they promoted it as The Lord of the Rings. So fans went to it thinking they were going to get the whole story. And then when it cuts off halfway through the second book, they were fucking pissed.
But they weren't like
And
pissed
so, like,
in a way to like, we want more. They were just like,
no,
screw
they were
off,
like,
we hate
fuck you. Like, assholes. Like, well, you can't
Wow.
promise us half a movie. It's funny.
Good
like,
for them.
now, yeah, good for them. I feel like that's the reaction people should have had about Dune.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of now, like, we reward these people with, hey, make another one. Back
Yeah.
then, they were like, hey, fuck you guys.
Yeah, I'm more of the fuck you school.
Yeah, me too. That's way cooler.
Fuck off the audience? Well, fuck you.
Yeah. But I would have
Alright.
wanted a second one of these.
Yeah, me too. All right, so meanwhile, Rankin and Bass, who like were involved in those like
Franklin and
Christmas
Bash?
No. That's very funny. No, Rankin and Bass. They made like
Oh.
Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Okay.
Reindeer. All right. So they were also working on Lord of the Rings movies at the time. And Ralph Bakshi tried to get the studio to pay them off to stop making their
Oh,
movies.
this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, I know, he's crazy. But they wouldn't do it. And they ended up coming out in the 80s and shit. Okay. This finally came out November 15th, 1978, and it made $30.5 million at the box office. Not bad. It came in at number 16 at the box office, between Coming Home, which was nominated for a shit ton of Oscars that year, and House Calls, which is an obscure Walter Matthau comedy I'd never heard of before.
Okay.
This film was nominated for 2 awards.
Yeah.
Okay? How about this? The Golden Globes.
It's the GGs, the Golden Globes. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly French.
All right, so they nominated this movie for Best Score.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not like the music that much. That was actually one of my big takeaways between this and the other one. I wrote down actually a lot of the differences between them, but the music is maybe the biggest difference for me. The music in those other ones are great, and this I was pretty nothing kind of.
Did you know that Ralph Bakshi apparently originally wanted to go with a song score of entirely Led Zeppelin songs for this
Are
movie?
you serious? That's funny.
I swear to you. And the studio was just like, what? No.
That's hilarious. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's a legend for sure. You were about to say it, and I'll say it for sure.
Yeah, but I said it already earlier, so I didn't want to say it.
Well, I'll follow up. All right, so it lost the score award to Midnight Express. All right, but then the Saturn Awards, baby.
So Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa, sci-fi blessed films.
They nominated this for Best Fantasy Film of the Year.
Yeah, good.
All right, and it did not win, unfortunately. It lost to Warren Beatty's Heaven Can Wait. Do you know that movie?
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
That's you ever see Down to Earth with Chris Rock?
No.
That's a remake of Heaven Can Wait.
No, really? Is that good? Is this good?
I like both movies. Yeah, the Warren Beatty version's good. He's like a football player who dies, and then it's like, oh, we fucked up. We took you from Earth too soon. Pick another body, and he tries to like join the body of like a rich fat guy, and it's great. And then the same thing happens in Down to Earth, except he's Chris Rock playing a black stand-up comedian in New York, and he dies, and the same thing happens.
Did it deserve the award over this?
Oh yeah, probably.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's talk about it. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
All right. I know you're ripping on me because
I'm not. You're just not a fan.
It's not that I'm not a fan, but like I want to talk about this seriously. I have trouble with fantasy. Okay, I
Right.
just do. For some reason I can do better in sci-fi. It's rooted in science. It's grounded in some kind of a reality. Even like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, how fucking fantastical that is. Like it takes place on Earth for the most part. So like there's a grounding element. All right. I've always had a hard time with stuff that takes place in fantasy realms, Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings, or fucking
Game of Thrones.
What's that called though? I was trying to think of it. Winterfell.
Yeah, there's like a lot of different
All
who
right,
knows?
well, whatever. Um,
King's Landing,
it-
that's a thing.
it's just a challenge for me. Okay, like Hogwarts takes place like somewhere in our world, so like I could get on
Yeah,
board with
in
that.
Europe.
Yeah, whatever. Uh, but this is the kind of thing where the writer can make their own rules as they go. It's like in the third book, it's like they can decide like, oh, now there's like little wolverines with like long tongues that wrap you up. Like they can just make something up. Now there's little water. Now the trees walk.
That's a
In
problem.
this
If you see
forest,
like
the trees walk.
if you see new creatures in like a Guardians of the Galaxy, you're gonna do that. You're gonna be like,
It-
how does this exist? You're gonna do that.
It's a challenge for me.
Well,
Yeah,
it just has to not be. You needed like an explanation of where Ewoks come from and what they do, how they have babies, all that.
No, I guess like Star Wars, they tell me it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I could.
You don't know what
accept it on-
Chewbacca is. You just kind of accept it.
He's a Wookiee.
Right, but that's all you know. You know the same as him as you do orcs. You know that they're just orcs.
Yeah, I mean you're right. Look, to Star Wars, the fact of the matter is they're flying around in space, and that's just a more appealing setting for me. Whereas this is like medieval shit in the forest, and it doesn't capture my imagination the same way. And so I find myself watching it looking for explanations. And I also have a problem where I zone out exposition. This is a problem in my everyday life. When someone starts explaining directions to me, I zone out. Okay? And then I later have to figure it out. We're talking about comp beasts. We're watching Big Brother on there. Every time they explain the rules of a competition, I don't listen. And then they start doing the competition and I have to catch up. Like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, just watch it and figure it out. So when they do the voiceover, you just zone that out and you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I had a problem with this when I first saw Fellowship of the Ring. I was excited for
Even when it's Blanchett.
Yeah, I was excited for Fellowship of the Ring, and then I saw it in theaters, and it opens with this narration that's like, the land of Middle-earth was divided into orcs, men, and hobbits, and Sauron created the 16 rings, and 7 were given to the men, and 4 to this, and then there was 1 ring to rule them all, and
what's the
Isildril,
problem?
Aragorn's descendant, managed to cut off, and it's like, what? Shut up. I don't care. It's not even shut up. I'm not angry about it. I'm just not listening.
But why don't you care? How is that not interesting? That in this world, a bunch of rings were made. There's one to rule them all. A guy cut it off. Now he has the ring. It corrupted him. He dropped it in a river. And story begins. You're not in at that point?
First of all, I mean, all of that's just made up bullshit. And second of all,
everything's made up bullshit.
No, it's not.
Everything is Pitch Perfect was made up bullshit. Everything is made up
No,
bullshit.
it's not. Pitch Perfect's based on a nonfiction
All
book.
movies are made up bullshit, though.
No, they're not.
They are, though.
Fuck
We talked
you.
about 5 Rambo movies.
Yeah, those have a grounding in reality that this
where he went to
lacks.
Mexico and saved his niece from
Yes,
a sex
that,
predator.
to me, that is more plausible than anything that happens in Lord of the Rings.
I guess it's more plausible because it happens, yeah.
Fucking hell. All right. Yeah, so I have a problem with that. I zone it out and then I have to catch up. So what I'm trying to do with this viewing of Lord of the Rings, which is my second complete viewing and third viewing ever, because I saw the original movie, just that one. I never saw any of the other ones. And then I had a girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but a girl I was dating years later. And she sat me down in front of the special editions, made me watch all 3.
So you watched the first one in a movie theater?
I watched the first one in a movie theater, and then I've seen the 3 of them special editions on Blu-ray.
That is amazing. You can sit and watch that first one and be like, no, I don't want to go back again for the second or third one.
I had no interest. I would have left the theater if I was by myself. I went with like my dad, I think. And my dad hated it. I dragged my dad like, this is going to be awesome. I'm so fucking pumped. It's like the new Star Wars. Yes.
Yeah. There's not even really any actors for like little kids to like, right?
I mean, I wasn't a little kid at this point. 2001, I was 15.
Oh, right. But like, there's not really though. Like Orlando Bloom isn't famous until Pirates, and he's like the people that kids like, right?
Yeah, I guess Vigo. I got into him later. It was like History of Violence and shit. I mean, honestly, Elijah Wood was probably the biggest star to me.
Yeah. Well, Magneto, but well, I guess people knew Magneto, right?
I mean, but it was the same. It was just like a year earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
Ian McKellen wasn't like a huge star. It was like Gandalf probably popped up on screen. Most people, I mean, that don't know anything about movies, were just like, oh, it's Magneto.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so I really want to wrap my head around the story this time. So I went into the Discord, and if you want to be in the Discord, email me at thefranchisepod@gmail.com. And I asked a lot of questions of the Discord, and then I got into our group text with Tim, and I asked him a lot of questions. And I really feel like for the first time in my life, I have a sense of what everybody is trying to achieve in Lord of the Rings.
So you didn't understand they were going to Mount Doom to drop the ring in the lava?
I understood they were trying to get rid of the ring.
Yes.
But I don't think I ever really understood the significance of the ring, how it's different from all the other rings, why it had to be Frodo that was carrying it, like what Gandalf's significance was with the ring, like where Bilbo was in all of this. I never really took
I still
kind of
don't get the Bilbo thing.
I feel, well, it's because a lot of that probably happens in The Hobbit, but
Yeah.
enough people. Thank you to Maddie Rags and to Sinisa and Coach and to Tim for talking me through, and Mikey Graff for talking me through some of this shit. I mean, Mikey Graff, I don't think is a big Lord of the Rings guy, but still, everyone was helpful, and I now feel like I am going into this and I can actually speak, maybe not intelligently, but I can actually have opinions on these movies that I can stand behind.
Good. I hope it doesn't get muddled when the first hour of this is stretched to 2.5 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
Might be a problem.
I hope we don't lose the through line when that happens. Should we talk about some of the things that happen in this movie?
Yeah, so it opens fucking fascinatingly. It looks like a fucking Kurosawa movie or something, where we're seeing figures silhouetted black on a background of red, and it looks like live action. And I was not expecting this in the movie, but this sort of continues on for the rest of the film. So he did the thing I've really only seen done via Richard Linklater, except for Ralph Bakshi, which is the rotoscoping animation, where he's filming everything live action and then animating over it.
That's only a Linklater thing?
I mean, I haven't seen, Ralph Bakshi was the first to do it. I've never seen this movie, but he does that in American Pop, which I referenced earlier.
Yeah.
And I think he does in Cool World as well, which is not a good movie, but is certainly a relic of its time. And I never saw anybody else do it until Richard Linklater, who's now done it 3 times in Waking Life, A Scanner Darkly, and now Apollo 10.5.
Right. And you like it? You're a fan of that?
I love when Linklater does it. I've never seen this attached to such a large story before. I mean, like, this is a huge epic, and it was really cool. It was really interesting. Like, I love the way he shot the orcs as more live action looking opposite the hobbits, who are very cartoony. Like, it really adds an extra air of menace to
the Helm's Deep, especially when they're like blended together more, when they're like all fighting each other and you're getting like the animation stuff with the rotoscope stuff. That's when you can really notice it, when they're all together. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks awesome. The Dark Riders look really scary.
Yeah.
I know
what do you think about the normal animation though?
I mean, it's very of its time, the hobbits don't look great. I never love faces around this time. I just feel like faces aren't expressive enough in 70s animation.
Yeah.
But I like the character designs for the most part. Although the hobbits all look really similar.
I agree with you.
A couple of times they fucked up the hair color. Like they would have like you'd be hearing Frodo, but they'd be showing Sam. But like it was odd.
Right. And then we get back. Sam looks all terrible, right?
Well, why they just made him like a mongoloid?
Yeah, he looks very stupid. but also Bilbo looks stupid. And at one point, like Bilbo and Sam look the same. I got them confused at one point. You're right. All the hobbits look pretty similar to each other.
Yeah, and they don't do age well. Like we never get a sense of how old anybody is. Like I can't tell you like Boromir's relative age to Aragorn, who's like versus Frodo or Gandalf. Like everyone just looks like a cartoon.
Right. Should we talk about some of the cast, some of the people that are in this?
I wasn't really paying attention much, but Amazon Prime has that like X-ray function.
Yeah.
And so every so often I'd like see how much time was left, and I would like get a look at who was in a specific scene, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" They're like big names in this movie.
Yeah, there's a few of them. First, I guess the most famous is John Hurt, right?
I thought John Hurt as Aragorn was fucking baller.
Is he your MVP?
Probably vocally. I didn't love the character design of Aragorn.
I didn't either.
Maybe just because Vigo is so like prominent in my brain thinking about that character,
Mhm.
and it doesn't look anything like Vigo.
He sort of sounds like Vigo though.
That's funny. I didn't notice
And
that.
it
It sounded like John Hurt to me.
And I think that Elijah Wood sounds like this Frodo too, kind of.
Well, Elijah Wood's like a massive Lord of the Rings fan.
Right.
You got to think he probably watched this a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It probably influenced his performance a little bit. I mean, Sean Astin doesn't sound like Sam at all.
No, he doesn't. He's better than this Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Sam sucks. It's real bad.
That was a weird choice too. Like I remember seeing Lord of the Rings for the first time, being like so mystified that Sean Astin had such a big role. Like the last time I like noticed that dude was in like Encino Man. Now here he is, like years later, starring in this huge movie.
Oh well, this is what I knew him from.
Well, I mean, I knew him from the Goonies and shit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so at the start of this movie, so we get like the 9 rings and the 7 rings and the 3 rings or whatever, and then Isildur cuts off his hand or whatever. Then we get a scene with Smeagol, right, where he kills his friend Deagle. You remember that scene?
He has a friend named Deagle.
Oh yeah, Deagle. You gotta remember Deagle. You kidding
What a
me?
fucking what? All their names rhyme.
Just those two, Smeagol and Deagle.
What is the talking tree's name? Treagle.
No, his name's Treebeard. And he's not a tree, he's an ent, but I think we discovered that.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But I have a question. Smeagol kills his friend, but like, Deagle, but he doesn't have the ring. Like he's not corrupted by the ring, so is he killing his friend for a normal ring? Or do they like know the story about the ring and he knows that it's a magic? I didn't really understand.
Well, is Smeagol Gollum'd out by this point?
No, he's just Smeagol. Then he gets the ring and turns into Gollum.
Why does his name change?
He's turned into like a creature. That's what they call it.
Yeah, but why does his name change? He should have the same name. It's not like when your friend gets fat, you're like, oh, you're Tubby now.
Well, she was just Amy, and then she turned into fat. Well, I guess she's Christian.
Oh God.
Yeah, but no, I think they called him Gollum. That kind of stuck. I don't know, but he kills his friend for no reason. I thought just for like a fancy ring.
Well, maybe he was a fucking dick, that Deagle.
Yeah, but
wait,
also,
but the ring is the one ring, right?
Yes.
He doesn't know it's the one ring, but he could still be getting influenced by its strong powers of suggestion.
So he's like, his first instinct is just kill his friend for it. Like other people at least try to fight it off.
But listen, Smeagol's the weakest of the weak.
You're
all right,
you're right.
You're talking this guy. Once he's in the presence of the ring, it just instantly he's just like, I gotta get that ring.
Yeah.
I gotta get that ring right fucking now.
Yeah, he is pretty weak. Yeah, but that's not until the third movie. So we get that very early on here, but then
we're setting shit up, baby.
Yeah, so how about that? That's a very scary scene, actually, in the third movie, I thought, growing up. He looks real freaky.
Deagle in the Peter Jackson films?
Yes.
I can't wait to see the live-action version of Deagle.
Yeah, he's classic. I forget who he is, but he shows up.
All right, so, I mean, do we have to do the plot? Gandalf shows up with these rings. he gives a ring the Shire at the Shire. He gives a ring to Frodo, and it can make Frodo invisible. And he's like, "Don't do that. That's stuck." But the ring is very powerful. What you got to do is take it. And he's like, "Why I got to take it?" And he's like, "Listen, I can't touch this ring. If I take this ring, I'm just gonna start fucking you. All right, I'm gonna go crazy."
I
all
actually
right?
like that. Like because instinctively that is smart to be like, hey, give it to the Grand Wizard. He'll be able to take it for you, right? But
I
he's
don't.
like,
I never. As a Jew, I've never trusted Grand Wizards.
yeah, I knew you were gonna say something about that. But then he's like, no, I'll be corrupted. So I think that's kind of clever how they do that. They get that out of the way.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it's fine.
By the
So-
way, we do a 17-year time jump in this movie. I don't remember that in the other Lord of the Rings. Maybe that happens, but I don't remember that.
Well, I guess we'll find out. So Frodo gets the ring. He changes his name to Mister Underhill, which I didn't remember, and is hilarious.
Why is that hilarious?
Why he changes his name? Why is he? Why is there so much name changing in these?
Well, because
movies?
Gollum knows that Baggins took the ring.
Oh, I get it. So he's undercover.
But well, actually, now that I think about it, we see Gollum in the 2001 version being tortured, and he gives up the name Baggins. But in this, he doesn't give up the name. So in this, I guess just he knows. But also they know. So anyway, that doesn't make
Well,
sense.
they got to fit a book and a half into one movie. Their stuff is gonna go, and it's a shorter movie than any of the Peter Jackson versions.
Right.
All right, so they go off. Oh, and so he runs into Sam, and it's like, "Fuck! What are we gonna do now?" Sam knows, and Gandalf's just like, take him. I guess that's fine.
Yeah. Who cares if he dies?
Yeah, and he tells Sam like, "Yo, this Frodo kid, I trust him, but this ring's powerful shit. If you start seeing him like giving you a weird eye, or like you wake up in the middle of the night, he's like choking you or something, like don't trust him."
Yeah. Bad omens. That ring.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of that Amazon Prime show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Good Omens.
Oh.
Anyway, so they walk some more. Oh, they go to that bar at one point. I like that. That was kind of the first time you see the real Richard Linklater rotoscoping, because all the dudes in that
Yes.
bar are just like dudes.
Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah.
Did you like it when Gandalf goes to go see Saruman, and he's on top of that tower, and he gets stuck there for a little while?
Who's that?
He's like the other wizard.
There's another wizard?
Well, he's like kind of a loser, actually. He's like, let's just
What?
join the bad side because, like, let's be friends with him so
Oh!
he doesn't kill us.
Yeah, I do kind of remember that. I was surprised too. That was a bold argument,
Yeah, that's Christopher Lee, by the way, in the other one.
Count Dooku?
Yes,
Oh, his name is Saruman?
yes.
All right.
Also,
I
by the way,
guess-
I always had this. This always bothered me. Why is there Sauron and Saruman?
Yeah, that's annoying.
That is very annoying. And they're
Now-
the two bad guys.
Now Sauron, of course, in X-Men comics is a pterodactyl who can control your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was such a huge character in my childhood that I assumed like all Saurons are based on X-Men,
No.
But no. Then I grew up and I found out that Chris Claremont, the dude who wrote the X-Men all through the 80s, was just like a huge fucking Lord of the Rings nerd. And he took
really?
all this shit from Lord of the Rings, and it sucks. All this shit I used to think was cool. There are these X-Men villains called the Dark Riders that I thought were cool.
Holy
and then
cow.
it's like, they're just the dudes from Lord of the Rings. There's
Wow.
like not even a change to the gimmick. And
What a
and
fraud.
what a fraud. Okay. So when I first saw Fellowship of the Ring, one of the other huge disappointments to me was I thought at some point they were going to fight a mind controlling pterodactyl.
Yeah, it didn't happen. So
I
I guess
really-
that let you down.
Yeah. And it just turns out to be an eye. He's not even a physical being. What a jip.
Yeah. No, he's just an eye.
Yeah. Who cares?
Jeez.
Maybe
We didn't even see the
Cyclops
eye
is a
in this
ripoff
animated
of
version,
that.
do we?
No, I don't think we do.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
All right. So they go to the Council of Elrond.
Yeah. You like that?
Do you think that L. Ron Hubbard named himself after this council?
Did he name himself that? That's not his real name?
Well, I mean, I don't know what his real name is, but it's probably like Lionel Ron Hubbard, right? And then do you think he read Lord of the Rings and he was like, ooh, Elrond?
Yes, I do think that.
I think so too. All right, so who's on the Council of Elrond? There's Aragorn.
Yeah.
There's Aragorn looks sort of Middle Eastern in this, doesn't he?
Oh, can I say something? You sort of like skip through some stuff
Oh, feel free.
because Legolas shows up, right? We get Legolas, voiced by the legendary Anthony Daniels, and he shows
I
up.
couldn't believe it when he showed up. He was like, I'm an expert in Hobbit orc relations.
Do you like him in this? Because at first I couldn't tell it was Anthony Daniels.
I could. He sounds just like C-3PO. It's so crazy because like Legolas in the version I know, he's like the heartthrob of Lord of the Rings,
Right?
And then all of a sudden it's just like, R2, how rude.
But Legolas shows up after Frodo is stabbed, and then he like they're trying to like he's rushing through the water with those horses. Long chase scene, by the way. There's a long chase scene. But he shows up when Liv Tyler shows up in the other one. So they replaced his scene with Liv Tyler. So he shows up earlier in this than he does in the other one.
Is the Liv Tyler character in this movie?
No.
Yeah, see, I got confused at one point because I guess I thought that character Galadriel was the Liv Tyler character.
Yeah, no, that's Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. I mean, I had the Discord set me straight.
Yeah.
But
and Liv Tyler is the daughter of Elrond, the guy at the council, Hugo Weaving.
Wait, there's a guy named Elrond?
Yeah, it's like the Council of Elrond. I think the guy's name is Elrond who sets it up, and he is Hugo Weaving. And
how did he get them to agree to that being the name of the council?
It must have been before they got there.
I mean, it's like a million species. Like, how would they just go like, yeah, that's fine.
He's
Council of Elrond, I'm in.
Oh, he's the leader. Come on. But Liv Tyler is his daughter. What do you think about that casting?
Well, look, Liv Tyler, she's got a very famous dad.
We can talk about Liv Tyler next week.
Yeah, we sure can. I like her too. I certainly I used to watch Empire Records late at night sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love. I was a big fan of the Crazy video by Aerosmith, and I've certainly liked her in solitary things like Inventing the Abbots or The Leftovers. But I kind of think she can't act.
No, she's fine.
Okay. You ever see Jersey Girl?
No, I haven't.
You want to watch an all-time bad performance? Liv Tyler in Jersey Girl.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, you're probably good. All right. Where do you want to go next after the Elrond?
Well, there's a classic line from I keep wanting to say the original Lord of the Rings, but this is the original one. What am I doing? In the 2001 one where they're doing the council, and Aragorn's like, "You have my sword," and then Legolas is like, "And you have my bow," and then Gimli's like, "And my axe." Right? You know that classic scene.
Yeah.
That's not in this movie. They don't do that. They don't do that at all. So they just sort of like start the adventure.
Is that in the book?
I don't know. I haven't read the book, as you know.
I'd love to know, like, because that is a pretty crucial scene in that movie. The only line I recognized from the original movie in this was "You shall not pass." I was like, oh, I remember when he says that.
Yeah, but it's not as cool in this. Like, Ian McKellen really sells it.
But you know what? Like, this was the established line reading for a long time. I remember when the trailers came out for Lord of the Rings, whichever one that was, the Peter Jackson one, and like the Lord of the Rings nerds that hadn't seen the movies yet, that were like fans of the books, were like, "Oh my god, he's like really hamming it up on that line." And then everyone saw the movie and they were like, "Oh, it was awesome."
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah, even I thought that was cool.
Yeah. By the way, that Balrog, you know that Balrog, that fire creature that kills him?
Yeah, it's not as cool as I want it to be. Is it cooler in the Peter Jackson movies? I don't remember what it looks like.
It's way bigger in the Peter. Well, in this one, it actually flies. It doesn't fly in the Peter
Yeah,
Jackson
I was
one.
surprised by that too. You shall not pass. Like, fuck it, I'll just fly over your head.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's why they made it not flying in the remake. But no, yeah, he's way bigger. He is cooler in the remake, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What happens next, bro?
By the way, Bilbo gives him like a little satin, like armor guard thing, and a sword that glows in the dark when bad guys are near. But it never glows in the dark in this movie. That never comes into play.
I guess I didn't even notice that, man.
Yeah. Well, I was looking for it because it does come into play in the other one, kind of.
He gets like what is it, like a lightsaber?
No, it's just a little sword that lights up.
How does it light up though? Like what's
It's got kyber crystals.
what are you talking about, kyber crystals?
No, I don't know what's in it, but it.
What is that a reference to, kyber crystals?
Star Wars. It's what's in lightsabers.
Oh, that's right. Fucking hell.
But I don't know. It just lights up when orcs are near or whatever.
Hey, if you guys like Star Wars, patreon.com/thefranchise. Logan and I just recorded a feature-length commentary track on Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, great time. Could you have named all 9 of the people that go on this journey before this movie started?
I don't think I could now.
Really? What? Come on.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Go.
All right. Aragorn.
Yes.
All right. Who I thought was Aragon until this viewing of the
I
movie.
think a lot of people do because there
Yeah.
was that other book, Aragon, right?
Oh, that's right. That must be why. Okay.
And they made that a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, right. All right. So Aragorn. All right. How many are there? 7?
9.
9. Okay. 7 of 9. Great character. Frodo,
Yes.
aka Mr. Underhill.
Yes.
Samwise Ganji.
Good job.
Thank you. Merry.
Yes.
Pippin.
Yes.
How many I got? That's 4?
I think 5.
Ooh. All right. Boromir.
Yep.
He's Jonathan Rhys Davies?
No, that's Sean Bean.
Oh. Which one's Jonathan Rhys Davies?
Gimli. Oh, I gave you a character.
Fuck.
Damn it.
Yeah, all right. I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Damn it.
I thought that was Boromir.
No, Sean
All right,
Bean.
so Gimli.
Yep.
How many more do I have?
2.
Is Gandalf one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And Legolas.
Yep. Good job.
Thank
But
you.
Damn it. You wouldn't have gotten Gimli, though.
Yeah, I would have fucked up on Gimli. He's a
Yeah.
good character too. He's one of the better ones.
Does he do that much in this movie, though?
No, I'm going by memory from the original.
Yeah, he's like a.
I'm saying original too. That is weird. All right, so I mean, the second half of the movie is much more concerned with battle, but I like the section where they're sort of like in that dungeon and Merry drops that rock down and Gandalf's like, "You're a fucking dumbass."
That's a bigger deal in the other one.
Gandalf, I feel like he's really ornery in these movies. I remember him being a little ornery in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, but I feel like he's like an asshole. Like he fucking hates Merry and Pippin.
No, but this is serious business, and these losers are like not taking it so seriously.
Yeah,
You gotta
you're
step
not
up.
wrong. This movie does have like universal stakes, right? Like if this ring falls into the wrong hands, essentially that's it, right? Like hell invades Earth.
Yeah, Saruman is going to be like the master of Middle Earth or whatever. It's bad news.
Oh, is that what Saruman? What's
Well,
Saruman's significance?
Saruman knows about it.
Does he
and he's
work
sending
for
his-
Sauron?
Well, he wants to get the ring to like be on his side, and if he gets the ring, then it's his orcs that are after it. Like when Helm's Deep is going on, that's Saruman's orcs. I
Okay,
think
but the
that's more
Dark
explained-
Riders are coming from Mordor, right?
Right, that is Sauron. I actually have a question about
So
that.
what is it? There's like a lot of different forces sort of converging at these battles. Like it's not just two sides. There's many sides.
Right, there's like
that
Frodo's
all want
side
this
and
ring.
Sauron, who has those. They're called the Nazgul, or like the Dark Riders or whatever.
Let's call them the Dark Riders because that's X-Men. I can remember that more easily.
Okay. Well, yeah, but Sauron makes those when he doesn't even have the ring in possession. So I don't know exactly how he turned all the 9 good men into those guys, but apparently he did.
Well, Sauron's Satan, right? He's basically Satan. Like to me, Sauron is Satan, and then there's a god that they reference a couple times, like Erid or something, and then there's like Gandalf is Jesus. So it's also like a religion analogy, which keeps me
try not to
slightly at a
think about
distance. I try not to think about that, considering it's like, why are we doing like an analog for like an already fictional book?
Yeah. Don't try not to think about that too much. But
Yeah.
we also in the other one get like a giant troll that they fight. We don't get that in this movie. I was a little bit bummed out by that, but I guess that makes
You
sense.
talking about when Hermione fights him in the bathroom?
No, a different troll. They fight this in the Mines of Moria. Can I say something else, by the way? Another difference between this movie and the other one. Bill, the pony, You know, Bill the Pony.
No, it's Bill
Uh-huh.
the Pony.
Well, in this one, they don't really make a big deal out of it. I think in the other one, they might like show more of Bill the Pony. But they have Bill the Pony outside the Mines of Moria, and you know that creature that comes out and tries to kill Frodo with the tentacles.
Sure.
The tentacle creature. Well, it kills Bill the Pony, and that like made me really sad.
That's a bummer. I didn't
Who wants
remember
to
that
see the pony die.
I mean, I didn't know the pony had a name. That might have affected me more if I'd known its name was Bill.
Yeah, it has a name because then Sam is like, "Oh no, poor Bill," and that's how you know Bill died. It's a bummer because that doesn't happen in the other one.
Poor Bill. Well, I'm gonna keep an eye out. I'm gonna be referring to that pony as Bill for the rest of the franchise.
That's his name. You better.
Holy shit! Oh my god. Oh, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about? There's like a really weird closing narration that like tries to wrap up the movie but fails completely. It sucks.
Oh, well, we're just gonna skip over the entire ending. I think it's crazy. I don't remember how stupid Merry and Pippin are in the other ones, but I don't think they're as stupid in this one.
I think they're stupid. I always thought they were stupid.
No, in this one they're stupid, but in the other ones I don't think they're as stupid as
I
this
think
one.
they're stupid in the other ones, man. I remember watching those movies and hating Merry and Pippin, and I was predisposed to like them because I'm a fan of that one dude from Lost.
Oh yeah, Dominic, whatever. But
Dominic Monaghan, aka Charlie from Lost. Not Penny's boat. Guys, where are we?
is he a Kiwi too?
No, he's I think he's just British. I was just doing a terrible accent.
Okay. But in this one, they just like straight up run into like the orc camp at one point. Like they're not even fighting orcs. They just like are dumb and run into the camp, and then Boromir goes after them and gets shot by like 12 arrows.
Yeah, but not Gimli. Those are two different characters.
Yeah, they are different. Would you have been more or less sad to see Gimli die?
I guess more.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Bean, he dies in everything, right? We're used to that.
It's a great death though in Lord of the Rings.
I'm looking
Incredible.
forward to it.
An all-timer, I would say.
An all-timer, wow.
I would say so, yeah.
What are the all-time best deaths in like franchise movies?
Well, first one that comes to mind is Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. It's got to be one.
Of course, yeah. What about Harrison Ford in Force Awakens?
You think that's one of the iconic ones already?
No, I don't. For some reason it was the first one I thought of.
What about the fake Chewbacca death from Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker?
What about when Glenn hides under that car in Walking Dead?
It's not a car, it's a dumpster.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a franchise? They don't have movies yet.
I just wanted to... that was the first fake death I could
One
think
day
of.
we'll have to talk about the Walking Dead movie franchise.
Yeah, maybe we could when they start making those with the... I mean, is that ever going to come out? When Andrew Lincoln left that show, they were like, we're going to make us like 17 movies with Andrew
Maybe
Lincoln.
COVID got in the way.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I feel like they ended that in like 2018 or something.
Yeah, good point. He's like a British dude. He didn't want to like get off his ass to film that shit.
Right. Oh, I have a note here. Gollum kisses Frodo's feet. Did you like that?
I hated the foot stuff in this movie. As you know, I love feet and I think about them sexually often. But I in this case, I've always been disgusted by the Hobbit's hairy feet. They have big, hairy feet. So it's like they're the audience POV character. Like you could be Frodo if you want. You know, most movies they'll make that like a kid, so kids could be like, I wish I was that kid. But in this movie, it's like Frodo, it's like you're a normal dude, you're Elijah Wood, but then you've got these huge hairy feet. I don't want to be you.
Yeah, you don't like the hairy feet. Do you have hairy feet?
No.
No. All right,
No,
that's
I
enough.
don't.
That's enough feet talk, I think. Are we done? What do you give this movie?
Here's the thing. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I was between a 2 and a 3. Okay,
Me too.
Because I think it's a 3 in terms of how well made it is. Because it really did impress me, and it was significantly better than I was expecting, even as a fan of Ralph Bakshi. I hate the Lord of the Rings story. I've always hated it. And so this was not an appealing prospect, but it's really well made. That being said, I still think the story's stupid. I think I understand it now, and I think I can get on board with it more and like follow it and get along with it, but I still think it's just dumb. And so that wants me to bring it down to a 2. But
Is this any different than there's a guy Voldemort who's coming after Harry Potter?
Well, it's not different. It's actually exactly the same. Like Voldemort's clearly a ripoff of Sauron.
Then what's the difference with you?
There's just something about I can relate to a boy wizard who like lives in Earth and then is like plucked
This
from
is Middle-earth.
obscurity.
It's like the same thing.
It's not the same thing. I tried to ask someone like, "What is this?" And so, like, they told me. Matty Rags told me specifically that J.r.r. Tolkien was really interested in the creation myth, and that all cultures on Earth have their own creation myths, except like England never did. And so this was an attempt at like a creation myth. So I guess the idea is that this is Earth, at like centuries before. I mean, but I can't figure out. Do dinosaurs come after this?
So
Did dinosaurs happen before this?
So your problem is you're fine with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but a long time ago on Earth when you don't really know the time period messes with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Earth. You can't like if they gave me an explanation at some point, like not to spoil anything, but Battlestar Galactica does something really similar. So, and like the explanation of it, I was like, oh wow, what a weird thing. That does make some sort of a sense. But it's not like you reach the end of Return of the King and you see like a through line for like how Middle Earth can become Earth.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's just
It's
something
frustrating to me.
that I hope that you can come to at peace with.
Well, I think that I have. Like, I think it's something that will always just be a stumbling block in my brain, but I'm making a real attempt to come to peace with the Lord of the Rings franchise here, and I think I'm doing really well so far because I'm going to give this animated one a 3.
Hell yeah, me too. I don't like. There's actually sort of a problem that I have with the others, and in those mind, I always gave those movies 5 stars. I love those movies growing up so much, but like in this, when they go to see Galadriel, I don't like that part, and that got me thinking about when they go see her in the other one, and I don't really love that part so much. And what all the stuff with Wormtongue in this reminded me of the Two Towers stuff with Wormtongue, and I don't super love that either. So we'll get into stuff that I don't like either at some point. 3 stars. It's pretty
Great.
good.
Who's your MVP?
I think I'm going to go John Hurt.
I am also. Who's your LVP?
Whoever played Sam.
Sam. Okay. That was
Just the character is so stupid.
Michael Scholes. Not a fan of Michael Scholes.
It's not even his fault. It's just how they made Sam.
All right. Yeah, I don't like it either. My LVP, I thought this Gollum was half-assed.
The look, the voice,
Everything.
Yeah, but he's
Gollum's cool. Like, Gollum's the only compelling character in Lord of the Rings. I remember the trailers for Two Towers. I was like, maybe I should see this one, man. That guy looks cool.
We barely see a character Eowyn in this movie who is like Theoden's niece or something. I don't even remember. But it was one of my favorite characters. But we'll see a little more of her later.
All right.
Boromir, I also always love. One of my favorites.
I prefer Gimli.
Yeah, you do prefer Gimli.
Yeah.
All right, is that it? Anything else?
Gimli, doesn't it sound like it would be like a cocktail? Like you would like a very elegant woman would show up at like a fancy bar in New York City, go up to the bar, sit down.
Gimli on the rocks.
Yeah, can I just get a Gimli on the rocks?
I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about cocktails.
Can I just get Gimli? Can you make me a Gimli with sugar on the rim?
What about a Legolas? Legolas. Legolas on the rocks.
That doesn't work for me.
Aragorn.
No,
what about
the
a
only one
Strider?
is Gimli.
Give me a pint of Strider. You know, like that?
That's not bad. Strider's okay.